Hi everyone! Today I am using a stamp set called Speedy Recovery. This is a stamp set that I overlooked in the catalog the first time I went through and placed an order, and I just didn't notice it because it's not one of those sets that has a lot of flash next to it. Like there's no dies, there's not a matching punch, there's not matching paper. It's kind of a standalone stamp set. And it's actually really nice, really inexpensive, just kind of all by its little self, but it can do a lot of little duty here. It's got this nice little bouquet of flowers with a heart, which could be for the get well type thing, but also it could just be sent any old time, right? And a little vase of flowers, a coffee cup with some hearts is good for a friend, and just say, hey, let's get together soon, or it was nice seeing you lately, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. But then if you want it to be get well, you can add this little spoonful of love and tissue box and that kind of thing. So it's got some nice sentiments. Really cute stamp set, and one that's really good to have in your inventory. So I decided to make a card using this for my recent card buffet, and I'm going to show you what I came up with. So I I'm starting with a base in garden green. Now you can go any color here. This is just something that I am basing off of this cute little lemons, because when I make tea I like to put lemon in my tea, or my iced tea specifically, but I also do like a little bit of lemon and honey, especially when you're not feeling really great. A little bit of tea with some lemon and honey is always a nice thing to me anyway. So I've got this paper, and the paper had garden green, so that's kind of where I am basing my colors. So my base is garden green, and then I've got this little piece here. This is Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to just layer that on there as an accent piece. And I've already embossed it in gingham with the gingham embossing folder, and that's going to go down right there. So this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Then we've got our little lemon piece here that's 3 3/4 by 2 inches, and that's just going to go right here. And then I've got this panel that's going to have my stamping on it. So this piece of garden green is, I think it's 3 1/2. Let's see, 3 1/2 by 2 3/4. Yes, 3 1/2 by 2 3/4, which makes this 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. So that piece is going to go down here, and we're going to do some kind of, oh, and I've got a little piece of crushed curry for my sentiment. All right, now to stamp this, I'm going to start with that cup, and I'm going to do this in garden green, and we're going to stamp it slightly to the left and not center down either, because we're going to put that spoon on top. And so we're going to go to the left and not centered up and down either, slightly lower than center. Not a whole lot, but just lower than center. Okay, and then I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to stamp just the spoon with the, I don't even need the whole spoon, I really just need those hearts. But to know where it's going to go, I'm going to stamp it on top of the cup. I want it to kind of be in the cup. I don't want it hovering over. I want it to be in the cup, but not lower than this lip here, right? So it's kind of like going into the cup. And so I'm going to go like that. So see, I'm overlapping. It looks a mess, but don't worry, we're going to cover that. So then we need to clean this stamp real good. And then we're going to stamp it again in Smoky Slate. We're going to need the Winkestel in a moment too. Okay. So this time we're going to stamp the whole spoon. We need the entire thing. There. Now another way to do this, we're going to cut this out and we're going to layer it. And another way to do that, if you have markers, Stampin' Write markers, not Stampin' Blends. You can't really do this technique with Stampin' Blends because they're kind of a permanent marker, more of a Sharpie. They dry really fast, and then they're going to permanently stain your stamp. But you can actually do this all at once by kind of going like inking up your stamp with your markers. And that isn't an option. However, I feel like, and watch, it's going to look perfect this time. I always feel like sometimes I don't get a clean image. especially when they're super close like that. Like I really want the rim to be that gray, but maybe I can do it. Let's see. See, it's just because of the type of stamp it is. It's got the little dots, the color. So if it's a solid image stamp, the marker works great, but when it's one of these shaded stamps, the markers just kind of fill into the little holes and it doesn't get a clean image. So we're going to do it separately, and that way I can go over the lid of the cup and this is going to cover it. So I'm just giving you my reasoning so that if you're watching this, you're not thinking, why didn't you just use your markers? That's why. Okay, so now we're going to cut out this spoon. And luckily it's an easy shape. But we're going to cut those hearts just completely off. Just go right past the hearts. Okay. Now I wanted this little spoon to kind of shine like a stainless steel or silver spoon, so I'm going to take the Wink of Stella and just kind of give it a little shimmer. Just squeeze it to get some of that glitter flowing there. Okay. I'm going to let that dry for a second while I put the rest of my card together. Okay. Now, let's put this together. Oh, that's a new one. Okay, now I find it easy to just add the glue straight onto this image here. Okay. I'm going to lay that right there. Got my little shimmery spoon. Now I also am going to add a sentiment, so we're going to grab that crushed curry piece, which I misplaced already. And this is just a little scrap that I happen to have. I think it's about a half an inch wide. Oh, I've got this upside down. A little more. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide. And then the length we can cut to size. So I'm going to use this Sending Well Wishes Your Way. Stamp that in the black. And I apologize, my head's going to come over. There. Okay, and I'm going to stick that here. Now I want this to kind of have a little bit of dimension, so I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I like to use all the little edges, so I've got that funky piece there. Alright, I'm going to go like this. And this does get kind of centered. And now if you want to add a little ribbon or something, this is a good time to do it. So I'm going to stick this right here. But first I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon. So I have this baker's twine, and thought about coloring it, but let me try it just like this. Just a little bow. And stick it underneath there. Now it's going to hang over the side, so if you want to stabilize that, you can put 2 dimensionals on one side that's going to stick over here to kind of get it up to this level, and then 1 on this side. Let me put this down with a glue dot first. Go right by that handle. My tails are a little long. There. It's a sweet little get well card. And then for the inside, I thought I would just use that tissue box. So I've got a piece of basic white. And I'm going to stamp that tissue box in the green. And then let's do wishing you a speedy recovery. Look at that, I caught my edge and I didn't get a good one there because I have something on my stamp. There we go. So I like that I can flip it over. You know, I was using some mica flakes earlier. You remember those Christmassy type things? And they got on my desk. There we go. Much better. There we go. Now I did notice that this stamp has extra, kind of has more rubber around it. It's not super closely cut as some of them are, and I caught my edges a few times when I was making my samples, so on this one particularly. So I just took my snips and I actually just trimmed some of that rubber off, which is why it looks kind of funky, just so that if you notice, if you have a stamp that you're always catching a corner, maybe trim it up a little bit, and that way you have less messy edges. I might trim up this coffee cup a little bit too. You can see where I caught the corners here and here. So this is going to go on the inside. And we have a simple get well card to send whenever we need it. Now, if you're like me and you saw this tissue box, did you think I'm going to get out an X-Acto knife and slit that and put actual tissue in there? I think I'm going to have to do that eventually. That's going to have to happen, right? So here it is. Here's my Speedy Recovery Get Well card. I hope you like it. I hope you'll come back again and subscribe to my channel. And if you don't have a demonstrator in the US, I would love to be your demonstrator. I send thank you cards and a little something here and there and share my reward points and everything with you. If you have any questions about Stampin' Up! At all, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks for watching. Bye!